he go to the hospital because he had a surgery, and the doctors checked his heart, and he fell asleep, and he put all those things on his heart, and they put him on the bed, but he had to go to another hospital.
Well, I am Crystal McCall. I'm Ridge McCall's mother.
My name's Adam McCall. My son, Ridge McCall, was born on December 15th, 2005. He was born with a heart defect called hypoplastic left heart syndrome.
For short, people call it HLHS, and they also call it CHD babies, which is congenital heart defect babies.
Which is where the left side of the heart does not develop. He's born with just the right side of his heart.
December 15th, I went in to labor, and it took about 10 hours, and exactly 10 o'clock, Ridge was born.
When we first found out about this, they gave us a couple options. They said we could either take him home, which he would live about 3 days after birth, and let him die in our arms at home.
Or we could do a series of 3 surgeries, which were the Glen, Norwood, and Fontan.
That will reroute the plumbing in his heart so that he could live like that.
They said that normally people opt for the 3 surgeries because the chances of us getting a heart for a baby that small or him even making it would be slim to none.
The toughest thing was that when he comes back from the operating room, he is basically a vegetable.
And I remember him, I remember getting to look at him, and he looked at me, and I didn't get to see him after that. Not till about 1 or 2 o'clock the next day.
He went home with us, I believe, 2 weeks after that first open heart surgery. We were home with a feeding tube, where we had to actually insert a feeding tube through his nose into his stomach. As parents, we had to do that ourselves.
And they showed us pictures of what he would look like when he came out of it. Something you don't ever want to see for your child. And I can't even explain it. It's terribly morbid.
I mean, it was very difficult to see that and to see his chest actually still open. They have a clear film over his chest. You can actually see his heart beating, which is a little morbid, but it's a little reassuring to a parent like me who knows that his son may die.
And they said that we would think that he was scary looking, but he wasn't for me because he was my baby. And he looked perfect anyway.
Let's see, his second surgery was when he was 6 months old, so we were home about 4 months.
They went in just to put in a bigger shunt, and it was supposed to be like a 3-hour surgery, and it ended up being an 8-hour surgery.
We had a longer recovery time. We had some episodes of getting him off of the breathing machine.
He came back to the room, and again, his heart was open.
At this point, we had a pretty free, clear shot until he was about 2 years old when they would do the 3rd surgery.
All through it, I had an older daughter at home going to school and being without me because I was at the hospital all the time.
Who is Aubrey?
Her.
Is she your sister?
Mm-hmm. My big sister.
How old is Aubrey?
At that time, I was pregnant with Lillian. And most people would say, why did you get pregnant so early? Well, if somebody's ever had a sick child who they knew was terminal, and yet is still terminal, they would know that after a woman has a child and loses one, it's hard to have another baby. And I didn't want to not have another baby. So we went ahead and got pregnant with Lily right away. And she was amazing, and she was born a year and 11 days after Ridge.
He did come down with RSV a couple times, which put us in the hospital for a few lengths of time that You know, anytime he would get a cold, anything, we would have to go to the hospital.
He had the Fontan done, and he healed very well, and we went home.
We were home till he was about 2 years and 3 months old. At that time, we had the third surgery.
And they kept saying that he had the flu, and I knew that something wasn't right because he wasn't walking and he wasn't eating and he was just really tired all the time. And I took him in twice and they said, it's the flu. And I said, take his blood, take his blood. Finally they did, and they found out that he was in major heart failure.
It was July of 2008 when we almost lost him.
That his heart was just giving up on him. We stayed in the hospital for about a month like that.
The children's hospital we were at, they pretty much said that he was going to die. There was nothing we could do.
They were trying to do everything they could to keep him alive. Eventually they came down to there was nothing left we could do.
We took it upon ourselves to talk to the right doctors, to have them make the phone call to St. Louis, to the hospital that does pediatric heart transplants. We told them our situation, where we were at. The doctor called and arranged a plane to come down and get Ridge, and they life-flighted him to St. Louis.
October 27th, I got the call in the morning. I was at the Ronald McDonald house, and I thought I missed a call, but I didn't, and I was like, God, I wonder if the nurses called me, because there was no missed call, but I felt like there was. And so I called up to the hospital and they said, yes, we tried to call you. We found a donor and we're getting Ridge prep for a heart right now.
When we got to that hospital, it was just amazing, the things that they did. They basically stopped everything the Children's Hospital in Omaha was doing.
Thankfully, everybody drove in, our pastor, all of our friends and family who have been there for us through everything. We could have never gotten through all of this without them. I still can't.
They got him off the milrinone. He actually got to get the breathing tube out for about 2 days, which was really awesome because we hadn't seen him smile in almost 2 months.
But we got our heart and we got to see it in a cooler as they walked it into him. And the moment they came out and said, it's beating, his heart's beating, and we got to go see him in his room and he was pink. He was pink. He wasn't a blue baby anymore.
My son got through that heart transplant, and it was like, you can't even tell there's anything wrong with him. I mean, he is a 4-year-old boy now, he's almost 5, and he got through the heart transplant. We've only had one bad spell of rejection. Right now he's on 8 medicines 2 times a day. We have been very, very blessed in his recovery from it.
And as everybody went home, Ridge got better. He had to relearn how to walk and talk and eat. It was amazing. I was prepared to take my son home, not alive. We had his funeral planned. But we, with God's grace, we got another heart, and we've beaten the HLHS.
What happened to your heart, Ridge?
I don't know. I just falls asleep, then I didn't look at it because it didn't even hurt when I was asleep.
Why did you need a surgery?
Because I was sick.
How long were you in the hospital?
A couple minutes, then I got out. I cannot go in the playroom or anything because I just got the heart. Where's your heart? Right here. I'm Ridge. Ridge McCall.